Hey everyone, welcome back to this course. Today we are diving into a critical aspect of Blazor WebAssembly development that often gets overlooked. And what I'm talking about here, it is unit testing. Specifically, we'll be focusing on how to test your CRUD, that is create, read, update, and delete components using xUnit framework and other two packages, which are the BUnit and a mock. Let me ask you this question. Why unit testing is essential in Blazor? Imagine you have built a dynamic, feature-rich Blazor WebAssembly application. It's working flawlessly on your machine, but when you deploy it, users start encountering bugs, broken forms, unresponsive buttons, or incorrect data being displayed. Debugging in production is not only time-consuming, but it also potentially damaging your reputation. That is where unit testing becomes invaluable. Unit testing allows you to catch issues early in the development process, ensuring that each piece of your application works as expected before it is integrated into the larger system. That is especially critical for CRUD components, which are the backbone of most applications. Whether you are adding, updating, deleting, or displaying data, these operations need to be rock solid. This course has three main targets, which are how to write effective unit tests in Blazor WebAssembly component. Also, we'll be looking at testing CRUD operations with real-world scenarios or examples. And the last part here, we'll be talking about some best practices to keep your tests clean and reliable. So by the end of you taking this course, you will have a solid understanding on how to unit test your Blazor WebAssembly components using the xUnit framework and the other two packages that I made mention of. These are the BUnit and the mock packages. This will also improve the quality of your code and speed up the process by catching bugs before they become costly to fix. So whether you are a seasoned Blazor developer or just getting started, stick around. This video is packed with valuable insight that will take your development skills to the next level. So make sure you have your Visual Studio 2022 or higher opened. We're going to create a blank solution. We're going to add our Blazor WebAssembly project. We're going to be adding our xUnit framework for the test, and we're going to start working with them. So click on create new project. So first of all, let's have a blank solution. I'll give it a name. So demo unit testing. Well, it's better I add the CRUD. So that is a Blazor WASM solution. Sounds long, but never mind. So as you can see from here, we are having our project or solution created. The next thing that we need to do is we need to add this project, right? That is a Blazor WebAssembly and the xUnit framework. So add that. So I click on solution, then let's add these two projects in here. I'm going to choose Blazor WebAssembly standalone, and I'll give it a name as that is a Blazor WASM. After this is done, we're also going to add the xUnit. So but before we do that, let's add solution folder for organization. Let's move this to the source, and then we can add another one for as test. Then in that test folder, let's go ahead and add a new project, and this is going to be xUnit framework. So Blazor WASM.tests. That is a test project for the Blazor project. I believe if you've watched my previous videos or courses on unit testing, you know there are some packages that we need to install in order to make this project packed, right? And I know you are thinking about Fluent Assertion. Yeah, yes, we're going to install that. But well, with the Fluent Assertion, we can use that. Or we can decide to use the default one specified in the xUnit framework. So maybe we're going to use the default one for now. An extra package that we need here is to install the BUnit. So right click on dependencies and let's get this package installed. So BUnit. Install this. And let's install mock. The reason why we installing the BUnit package here is, you know, BUnit has an internal class test containers that allows us to have access to this render component and a whole lot of stuff. At the same time, this BUnit also convert all the Blazor components, talking about the input test or component into HTML element, and we can access it through that. With the mock package that we're going to install, you know, we're going to be using an HTTP to make a call. Now we want to mock, you want to create fake instance of this HTTP server so we can return our own defined values, and mock can help us achieve it. So let's install the package too. MOQ. We can get that package from this. Then let's get this installed as well. Okay, so we have these two packages installed successfully. You know, since we are working with Blazor WebAssembly, we need to have a service which is going to communicate data to our backend, and that is an API. And now within that, we're not going to create an API here. I have already created an API running. So we're going to consume this API service in our Blazor application. And after that, we're going to create a test for this CRUD. This Blazor or this API exposes all the CRUD endpoints. That is a create, read, update, and delete. So we're going to create same service to handle that. And after that, our test follows. So let's go to our Blazor application. Now within that project, let's have a folder known as service. Now here it is a best practice. Is it best or yeah, it's a good practice to organize all your services in a class. When you do that, it enables you to test easily. Instead of calling the service within each component, maybe create component, you'll be calling this create service in that. When it comes to testing, it becomes difficult for you. So put all your services in a class so you can create an instance and you can use it, or you can mock that instance of that class or that service, then you can use it in your testing. Okay, so let's do that here. Let's add a folder and I'm going to name this as services. Now within these services, let's have an interface and an implementation. So let's add a class. Actually, we're going to select interface, and this interface, we say this is iProduct service. Now this product service, we need CRUD interfaces, so I have them prepared beforehand. Let me just grab them and I'll paste them here. So you can see we need to have a product model. Then we having these, I think, 5 interfaces. The first interface you're going to get all product, get by ID, create, update, and delete. And I believe that is not the first time of you seeing interfaces like this. You know what they are going to do, right? That is a CRUD. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our models. Actually, we're going to have only one model here. That is a product. So let's have it done. We can add folder to this. Let's say this is models. Let's go ahead and create model as product. Now with this product, what do we need? Maybe we can talk about ID is 1. We can talk about, that is PROP, right? We can talk about name, because this model must sync with the model used in an API. And our API has an ID, it has name, and it has quantity. So that is quantity. So you must have same. So we can grab all the response from our API. Now let's go to the service and make sure you include the namespace or the using statement here. Okay. There's a time for us to create our service. The repo is a service repo. Okay. So let's implement this. And right click on the services, go to add. Let's add a class. And let's say this is product service. This class should implement the iProduct service. And now with this, let's implement all the interfaces. Since we're going to be making a call to an endpoint, we need to include HTTP client. We say this is client. Okay. So now with create product, what are we going to do? We're just going to be calling the endpoint. Now, when I have a look with my endpoint created for create, the controller name is product. So it has create. That is a post for the create. So you see from here, we have an API and the product. The product name, there's the controller's name, so API and product. And that is what we need to use for the create. Also, when you have a look with the interfaces, you see it's returning an integer for the create, delete, and update. So in case the operation is successful, the integer value here that's going to return here is to be more than or greater than 0. So we can check that in case the operation was successful or not. So let's have a look. We're going to say that from the create response, we're going to have equal to an await. Then we're going to have our client dot returns. We can use post adjacent async to handle this operation, or we can use post async. Well, let's have a look at using post adjacent async. Then let's specify API. Controller name is product. And we need our product. Now with this response, let's check if this response that is access equals code. What are we going to do? We want to convert it, read the response as a string, and convert it to integer. So return int.pass. Then the response that we having, it has a content dot read as string async, so we're going to convert that to integer. Else we're going to return, let's say -1, maybe the operation is not successful. Then let's say with the delete, we need to also do same. So let's grab this. Then with the delete, it should be an async task. And let's have same response. The same client dot delete. We can use delete async. Now with the delete async, we need to specify our endpoint. So product. In here, we need to specify the ID. Now with this, you can check the response like this. We're going to read it and I return it. Let's go to the next one. Now that is get all. In case you have any issue, we want to try this. Handle that with cat, and now let's return empty array. But before we do this, that is what we're going to do. Let's have our product. We have our client dot. We have our. We can use get from JSON async, and in that we need to specify that's a list of products. And now the endpoint here is an API and product. I believe you are done with that. Now let's return this product. That is it for the get product. Let's see get by ID. We can go ahead and I return this straight. But while you can also use try catch block to handle in case there's an issue from our API. So it's better to handle issues than to let them escalate, right? So let's have our catch, and in that we can return, return new instance of this product, or you can return to null. But well, let's return new product. So a new product. That's in case you have an issue. But in case we do not have any issue, we want to return and await. Then we're going to say that our client dot so get from JSON async, and here is a single product, so let's specify product, and in here we say API. But before, let's make sure we specify the ID, API and product. Then we have the ID. Okay, then let's have a look with the last part, that is the update. So we can go up and grab same here. Then we have our response. We have our wait client dot. Instead of here, we're going to use put at JSON async, specify API product controller. Then this should be yes. Then we have the product. That is a product to be updated. Let's have check the response status and return the needful data that we need. All right, so this is our simple CRUD implementation service. Let's go and register the service in the program file. So with this, we're going to say builder.services.add. Let's make it a scope. Specify the interface. Going with the presentation. Oh, presentation or the implementation. That is the implementation, right? So that is a product service. Okay. Now when we come to, you can see we have a default client registered. We're going to maintain that. But we don't want to be using the default base address of this client. We want to navigate the base address to the server. That is a back end. So let's remove this. Instead of getting the base address from here, no. We want to specify our own, and that's the HTTP. Is a local host. Port is 7000. Let's make it like this. So there is an API. Normally, default I've set my API. I've added course, so it's going to allow course with this. The address of this client is going to be allowed in that, so no problem or no issue with that. Now that we have this set, we have our service also created. We need to create our UI for this. Now the UI, we need to have a product list. So let's go to our pages. In here, maybe we can change this to product list component. Now this product list component, we're going to create table, and in that we're going to call a service and loop through that list of product that we have and then display them in the table. This is quite simple. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing. So well, let's build something small UI for this. It takes time to build the UI, but well, let's see if we can do something quick. But before, we need to let's inject the interface service. So iProduct service, which is coming from a folder created in the solution. It's not popping up, so let's say this is product service. And here, using the name here is Blazor WASM dot service. Is it services or service? So the folder name is services. Okay. Maybe you want to close this and reopen. Yes, we have it. Okay, so let's see. Let's have, well, let me have div class in here. Let's have a simple card. Let's have card header for this. Now this card header, we want to have href. Now this ref, that is an add product. You haven't created that, but well, let's give it the route. We have a class. This is btn. btn is a link. Let's have the class test primary. Let's push it to the end, and in that, let's give it a name as add product. It could be add new product, or you can even customize to suit what you want. Okay, so as you're done with the card header, let's go ahead and I have our table class BUnit. Now this table, what's it going to do? Let's define a bootstrap class to handle to beautify this, and we're going to have a look at this as table. Let's make it table stripe and also table bordered, so you can have some border around the table, making it looking nice. Let's have t head. Now this t head, maybe we can have t head dark, and within this t head we are going to have our tr and th. Now this th, this is an id. We have another th, and that is a name. We're going to loop through. We have another th, and this is going to be a quantity. Then we have the last th. Maybe you're asking yourself why we have 3 properties in there, so why creating the next one? Well, it's an actions. Now this actions is also going to be doing, we're going to be using for view and delete. Okay, so we have our th created nicely. Let's have a look with our t body. Now this is going to contain the real content. Now we're going to say that, let's say at. So if we're going to have a list of products here, now we're going to say .count, although we haven't created that, but well, we're going to create that soon. We're going to say if the count here is greater than 0, that is only when we want to make this happen. So let's loop through, and we say this is, we can have product as product in the product list. So within each product in the product list, what are we going to do? We want to loop through. So by doing that, we create our tr, then we have our td first one. So we're going to say this product that we have dot it has an id. Then aside from that, we have another td as this product that we have here, single product dot name. They must sync or correspond with what we have in here. And the last part, not the last, we have products that we have in here dot quantity. Okay, then we created 4 columns or 4 that is a header, so we need to also have the same thing. Let's have our td, and now this td we're going to be having a button. Let's have this button, and let's have a class as btn. Let's make this as small. Let's make this danger. Then we can give it an ID. This ID here is going to be preparing for our testing. Okay, so when you get your testing, you now understand the reason why we're having this ID. So let's give it ID. We say this delete, and I'll pass in this product.id. Then we're going to have a method that is when this button is clicked, what do you want to do? You want to call a product method or delete product method. Then we're going to specify the ID, and after we're doing that, we can make a call to the service, passing the ID, and well, it's going to get the job done. So let's have at onClick. Then you want to create a function, so we're going to say delete product. Then let's pass in this product.id. That is the only thing that we need here. Let's give this button name, and that is delete. Aside from this, we are also going to, let's have this pipe symbol. Let's have maybe view and update. Let's have a link to handle that. So for view, we can have it as an anchor tag. Let's specify the ref because we're going to create a different component for the view. So we want to have, let's specify this in that. And here we're going to say that we want to navigate to product. That is a route. In that, we're going to have a parameter. And this parameter, we need this product.id. So you pass in that. So we're going to create a component, and in that component, we're going to have a route as product, and then that's going to accept an incoming parameter as integer, and that's what we're doing here. Now with this, let's give it a name as view, and maybe we can have a bootstrap class. So btn, this btn, let's make this as link in there, and well, we can have test info as view. Let's create another one for the update. So at onClick is equal to, I think there's an issue here, we need to fix that. Okay, so we should have onClick delete this. They have to remove one of these. Okay. So let's make a copy of this, and let's say this is update, and instead of this, let's change the button, and we can have update product. That is a route, and we still need the ID. So that is all. But let's make our table interactive. In case there is no data in here, let's display something to the user, right? So maybe we can go to where we have this, where we're checking if the product count is greater than 0 to perform this task. We want to also check in case it isn't, then what do you want to do? You want to display something simple to the user. And this is coming in a TR form. Okay, so let's clear this. And this should come here as a table row. And in that we have TD. Now with this table data that we have here, let's set the com span to cater for all, that is 4, and let's put something in there. We can have a bootstrap class, which is going to push this to the middle, and we're going to say no data found in here. So let's go to the code section and have some implementation done. Now with this, it's going to be code section. And here we must have a list. Now, in order for us to test this, we're going to create a public property variable which is going to handle a list of products. So we must have it in the public form, not private. If we make it private, it means you can access it in the test. But to make it available in the test, it should be public. So take note. Let's have a list of products, and we give it a name as product. So we can set this to new. Now let's make sure we include the namespace of this or the reference of this model. Now that we have our service injected, we can call this when the page initializes using initialize async. So let's grab this product. Then we're saying that this equal to the service that we have created. That's a product service. So we have an await. So we have get our product. And we have this. That's an async task. Delete product. So when the delete button is clicked, it takes in a product ID. And we're gonna say that product service dot we have delete product, you pass in the product ID, and we must update this. So maybe once you have the product at hand already, we need not to be calling the service again. We can say product is equal to this product. So dot, let's use the where clause, and we're gonna say this product maps to the product. Let's make it as P for short. So P dot, we're gonna have ID is not equal to this product ID. So dot to list. So there's no need for us to call the service again. We have the product already, so we can exclude the product ID, delete it, and return the list. So that's what we need to have in our product list. Now let's go to get product by ID. So in case I want to view product, I need to go to the next component, that is the product, and I'm passing the ID in there. We're going to make a call to get product by ID service. Then we're going to return this product and display them. So let's have get product by ID component. You can clear all this. And let's have the route specified. So we're going to say this is page. And now here it is product. It takes in the product ID. Now this product ID should be an integer. Then in order for us, let's include Blazor. So that is a Blazor WASM that services. So we can inject our iProduct service. So this is product service. So after we are done, we can have maybe h3 product detail. So we can check if product is null. We want to display something in there. Let's say if this product that we're going to have, if this is equal to null, then well, we can have loading. In case it isn't, then we can display this. So let's have a div. This paragraph we want to have, maybe this is an ID. Now with this ID, we're gonna have product.id. Let's have same for the rest. That is name. Then we have quantity. Then let's have our code section. Now since you're going to have parameter, we need to specify the variable. So parameter, we take in the public. It's an integer and it is product ID. We have our get and our set assets. Now in that we're going to have our public product, and now this you can say is under product, which is equal to new. Then we need to use override. We need an initialize async, so we can have protected. If that is not working, we need to type it ourselves. So override async task, and we need an uninitialize async. We say this product is equal to, we now call the service, that is the product service dot get product by id async. We pass in with product id. Let's save this. Let's open it again. We need to include the reference here. Okay, so that's our product by id, or get product by id. Okay, so let's see how we can add product and also update product component. Then we are done. So let's create the next component, or maybe we can use this weather component. So add product component. In here we specify our address, that is add product, and let's use Blazor Blazor WASM dot services. Let's use iProduct service. We create an instance of product service. Then let's have our h3 add new product. Let's create an edit form. Now let's have a model that will be new product. Then unvalid submit. So handle valid submit. That is a method that we're going to create. We can add data annotation by data in case we want to do that. Then validation summary, we can also add that if you want. Let's have our div class, and that is a form group. In that, maybe we can have our label, and this label, we say this is product name. Let's use an input test, and with this test, let's specify an ID for the test. So we specify product name. This is our class, and that is form control. Let's bind, and here is a new product dot name. Let's make a copy of this. Let's paste it, and instead of this, we're gonna say quantity. And for the input, it is product quantity. Okay. Now this should be input number, not test. Then last one, we're going to have button. So this is a simple edit form, and now we need to make the type set to submit, and we can have a class that is btn primary. Then we can say save or add product. Well, now in our code section, we need to define our product as new product. Then we can have our when this button is clicked, we can have this method implemented. So this could be private async task, and in that we want to have await our product service dot, then we have create product async. We pass in this new product. Maybe after that we can clear the content. Okay, so this is what we need to do for this add. Now what of the update? Let's add that component. So we have update product component, and now with our update product, we have an h3, so update product. Let's remove this component. Let's specify route. And here it is an update product. This takes in a parameter of product ID, which is by all means should be integer. So let's use a reference, Blazor WASM.services get I product service. Aside from that, we can have our edit form. Now this edit form, we have our model set to product. So on valid submit, we say this update product. We need data annotation by data and also validation summary. Let's go to add product. Let's grab same and paste it here. Let's pick the name. So we have not this one, that is this. So product.name, then product.quantity, and here we have update product. So we can change this to add, then update product. So let's define the method to handle an update product. You know, this is coming in with a parameter, so let's specify that parameter, which is an integer, and it is coming as a product ID. So from that, we're going to have our product, which is equal to new. Then when this button is clicked, when page parameter set, this page is going to render again. Now when it is rendering, we can also make a call from a service and now get the product ID, display it here, and now we can update it. So we say this is protected. Override, we have an async task, and that is uninitialized. We say this product at hand is equal to, you have an await, we have our product service, so dot get product by ID, then pass in this product ID as parameter coming in. After we have this, we can have this method implemented when the user clicks on update or save it. So this is a task, and updates products. So by then we have an updated data of products. So we can have a look at this. So product dot ID, because once you have the product in here, we have the ID as well, so you need not to check for ID again. So we can go ahead and now say await our product service dot update product, then we pass in the product that we have at hand. So we have the CRUD component here. We can go ahead and rebuild solution, and I'll run this and check it up and see how this component looking like. So Blazor WASM, we forgot S here. Product service, okay. Let's remove that. Alright, so this is set and ready. You can see we have rate 2 succeeded. So this means that we have a UI built successfully. Now the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to create our test. We need not to run this project to see the UI. We can go through that using the test. Okay, so let's have a look with the test. And I'm going to, let's delete the default one that we have. And let's create a folder. Maybe we can give it a name as component test. So we can have tests for each component. So maybe we can have a look at this. Let's create a class, and that is a add product component test. Get product by ID component test, product list component test, and etc. So let's start. This is product list component test. Now this class should inherit from test context. This is coming from the BUnit. So test context, and now it's coming from BUnit. Let's make this as public. Let's remove unnecessary using. And now in here, we're going to fetch the product list and now display. So let's have our fact. Then let's have our public. This is void. And in that, we're going to say that product list component, then display data correctly. So we are going to fetch data from a service and display in the UI. That's all that this product list is going to do. We're going to loop through, going to check if the data has all the headers, it has all the rows, the data being presented, it has the record after the data is being called from the service. So with this, we're not going to make an original call to this service. We're going to mop this. How do you mock this? We're going to create a fake instance of this HTTP service, which is going to return a list of records, a defined record. And in that, we're going to pass it through this display, and I'm checking in case, assuming there is a record, the client is viewing this, how it's going to work with the data that has been brought from the service. You get me? So this is what you're going to do here. But before we do that, there are some common things that you're going to be doing. You know, in developing, you have to follow a principle, not only not following any principle, you have to follow this. Okay, at least, right? That is a do not repeat yourself. So some of the components or some of the statements which are going to be used often, we can create a simple fixer class and now put them in there. So let's create a class here, and now let's name this as fixer. So maybe fixer whatever. Now this should be a static. Okay, normally in order for us to test, it should not be static. Okay, we can make it, but what we can also add it, or we can create this in a register and I use it. But for now, let's make it as a static because it contains a mere record for a dummy test for the test. So it is going to return, let's say this public is going to return product, and so this is product list. Okay, so within this we want to have return new list of product. Let's include the reference. Okay, then we're gonna have new ID. Let's have ID equal 1. Let's have name equal product 1, and we have quantity equal 4. Let's make a duplicate here. It's product 2. Then ID is 2. Okay, so we now have this. Okay, so this should be like this. Okay, so we have 2 records in here, and that is what we are returning. Let's remove this. ID is 1 and 2, as you can read from here. Okay, let's make this static. Okay, so that's what we need. We need 2 lists. Let's save this. Now let's go to remove unnecessary usings to make it simple. Let's go to the product list test, and here we're gonna say that we're gonna follow this. So under arrange, we have to get a product list. So we're gonna say that we have our products is equal to, then we can have our fixtures dot then product list. So we have a product list in here. The next thing that we're going to do here is we need to mop the product service. So let's have our product service, and we are saying that this is equal to new. Using this mock, then we specify the interface that we have. We want to create a fake instance of this product service. So the next thing that we're going to do here is, let's assume we have called, because we have mocked the process, that's the interface in here. We are assuming making an original call, and this call we intercept it and return predefined data. Okay, So let's see how we can do that. So we're going to say this is a mock product service dot setup. Now with this setup, we're going to specify the service, and the service here, it is get all product service. Now with this, assuming we're making a call to this, at the end of the day, we want to return what? A list of products. So returned, we have this fixture, then we can specify product list. So instead of using this fixture.product list, I think we've created it here, so we can go and grab this. But you can see from here, we are using this returning from a task, and now this is static. So in order for us to be compatible, we have to make it task.return from result, and let's specify the product in here. Okay. So now we mark the setup in here, and that is the interface, and we call this method to return a list of products. But before we do this, we have to register this setup. Okay, this service that we have, let's register that. So we can get this services dot, then let's add maybe singleton will be okay for this. And now the singleton is an I product service, and this interface, we want to register that with this mock product service that we created dot object. Then we use this service to make a call here. That is an arrange. Now when we go to act, what are we going to do? With the help of the BUnit, let's grab the component that you want to render here. So we're going to say that this is product list component. And now we're saying that this is equal to, we have render component, and now passing this product list component. So this is a component. We are not having any parameter, so we are not specifying any parameter here. Okay. Oh, this should be here, not sorry, should be here. Okay. So within this, let's also get, when we have a look with the product list, we having a list of, we have table, and in that we have table head, we have table head, we have table body, then we have table data in TRs. So we're going to loop through and see whether the number of records has been saved in here. Now currently we have 2 records. So let's say we can provide 2 records. How is it going to be displayed? Are we going to have them in here, or we are missing any item? Let's test that. So let's first get a table. So the whole table like this, we get table. And now since we have this product list component, we can get everything which is public in that. So dot, then find, we can use find or find, because currently we are having only one, right? So we can use find. Now find what? Find table. That is a class name. So find table. Now when we have this table, we want to find headers. So let's say find headers. And now this headers, we can get this headers from the same product list component dot. Now headers, we have only, I think, one header. So we want to find, that is the header. But when we have more than one, when we check the product list component, th, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it means table is only 1 here in the whole component. Th is more than 4. That's more than 3. So we can specify find all. So let's find all. So you have the th in here. Now within the th, you can see from the th we have trs. That's a table row. So from this th, okay, we having this tr here. That is a t head, and in that we having this tr in here. Now you're going to find all the the same thing here, all the T bodies. So you can see we have this T body, and then that we also have a TR and now TD. So we're also going to get them. After that, we can loop through them and now check. Let's go back. So once you have our headers here, we can have our table row. So we have our rows, and it is the same. We can get the rows from product list component dot find all. And our find all, we have T body and now TR. Okay, so with these two, we can have the same T head and now TH. Here we are having T body and now TR. Here, when you find T, let's say here you're having T head. Okay, T head, and you can have a look at TR. That means you're going to grab all this T head and now TR. So with this TR, we can go ahead and grab this TH in there. So let's add that. So TH. It means it tells you that we're going to find all T head, TR, and now all this TH. Then here we are finding T body, then TR, and we can find TD. But here we're going to have multiple TR, because since we're going to loop through this, so we can have a list of rows in here, and now with each row we can grab the items in it. So now that we have this set, let's go ahead and now grab the first row. You see that the product list, we are providing 2 records, so we're going to have in the 2 rows. With these 2 rows, let's assume we have only 2 records in here. Let's grab the first row. So the first row cells. And now with this, we can have access to these rows. Then using, so you can pick the first one. So when you pick the first one, we want to get all. So we can use this query selector to get all rows. So query selector all, and now all, you want to grab access to TDs. So you can see that here we are getting the T body TR. We have the row stored here. Now get the first row, and at the first row, you want to select all TDs here. Now with this table data, we want to also grab the second one. So there is a, let's say there is a first, and this is going to be second. And here this is going to be 1 using an index. So this is going to be 1. And now you're also going to find. So we can decide to use query selector, or you can decide to use the new API that is .children. You can also get that. So any of them, you can use it. So now we have the first row, the second row, we have everything. Let's go and assert it. So, and assert. What are we doing? We first assert dot. You want to check if it's not null. Table shouldn't be null. Upon all what we're talking about here should at least contain data. That is the first assertion that we're doing. Second one, we want to check if the header count is equal to 4. So let's assert dot equal. We're checking 4. Is it equal to, or there is a headers? Now you must get dot count. So you can see we are having this header. That's a T header. So we get a T row, T header. We're getting everything, find all. The count here must be equal to 4. When you check the product list, the count is, we have the T header 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now what again can we do? We can also check and see if the ID of this header is equal to what we specified in there. Assuming, or let's verify whether it's going to display exactly what we have provided. So we can say that asset dot, you can still use the same equal. Then the first here is an ID, and we have headers. We can pick the first one, and in that we can have text content. We can make copy. Since we're having 4, this is going to be the second one, and here it is name. We have the third one, that is quantity. That's going to be the third one, which is the index of 2. And now with the index of 3, the last one is the fourth one, it is known as actions. So when you check it, action. So you want to check verify. Okay. We can also check number of rows. So assets dot equal. Now we have row. The row is supposed to be 2, and when we check rows dot count, should be 2, because you have 2 records, so you're definitely going to have 2 rows. Then within the first row and second row, we can go ahead and check each. So we say asset dot equal. Then the first row ID is 1. Let's say string, so that is 1. And in here we say first row, we want to pick the first one dot text content. Okay, so we pick the first row. Let's pick the next one, so that is row space. And now here, that is the first one. Second one here, it is product 1. Do you remember? Product 1, and that should be the second. Then quantity, that is 4, and that should be the third one. So that is second. We don't have any fourth one. Fourth one is an action, so we don't want to check that. You see? Then we can do same to the second row. We can also cross check and verify whether the same record is found. So no, we have this set already. The ID is 2 first. The ID here, that is a 2, and here I think it's 8. This shouldn't be first, it should be second. And then the second. Great. So actually we've tested, or we have everything in place. From the table, from T head up to T body, we have everything here. Alright, so we're going to test this. Now make sure, let's build it first and see whether we have any issue to fix it. Oh, alright, so that is set. Let's put breakpoint. We're going to debug this. So go to test. Let's debug our test. So it is hit. Now let's step out and now check something out. So we have the product list. This is going to return a list from here. So we have this list. Talking about this, because we have the count as 2. Now we mark the service interface. Then we're going to register the service. After registration, we're going to make a call to this, and I return a list of product that is count is 2, which was defined in here. The next thing is we create a copy and instance of this render component. That's what the system under test, that is this product list component. We're going to create it in here. Then the next thing is we want to define the table. So here, if I click on this, you see we have the instance of this, and all the components have been rendered in an HTML element. So as you can see from here, by the BUnit. Let's grab the table. Do we have it? Yes, we have it. So you can see we have a table, and that is a table, and there's a class as table. Now let's grab the headers. I want to grab only the th. Let's see if it's going to work. So we have headers, and on this headers we have the count as 4. You see this? Let's grab the row of this. We're going to have 2 rows. Next, this should be 2. Count should be 2. So we have 4. Okay, so we have 4 rows for this table row for, let's check it out. So we have this and that. So table row, when you go to the list, table row, we have, okay, yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first one. We have 4 table data in this row. Let's continue on. I want to grab the first row. We want to grab everything from here. Next, now here you can see we are having about 4 for the current one. Then the next one we are having same 4. We're checking that the table shouldn't be null. It is passed. The header count is 4, so it should get passed. The ID of this one should be ID. So that's the first test content. Should be ID because we have it in here. Next, and that is true. Next, and that is true for the headers. And that is here for the headers. That's passed. When you go to the row count, the row count here is 2. We have 2 here. Now each contains 4 TDs. Now it is equal. Let's grab the first row. We have 1, product 1 as a name, and now 4 as a quantity. Let's just take the second one. 2, product 2, and now 8 as quantity. So the test is passed. So it tells you that whatever thing that we set up in the product list is working perfectly. Great. So that is this one. Now we can go ahead and test it up. And when we test it, if our service is working perfectly, we're going to see everything displayed as we've done or we've tested and seen here. Check it out. Yeah, so we have it. So you can see that from here we're having our ID, name, quantity, and our actions. These are the headers. And in that we made a look at the number of records in here. With this, that is the actual records coming from the database. But while we provided a default or a fixed value for this. So it is the same thing as you can see from here. Now that we have this working, let's go and test the get by ID, delete, and also the update. So let's close this. So let's create another class for this add product. And that is add product component test. This is public, and this should inherit from test contest. In that, let's have our fact and our method to handle that. So we say this is public void, and it is add product component test. And here it's going to add product correctly here. So let's say add products correctly. Okay, now under arrange, let's go to our fixture and let's have product. So we can have this this shouldn't be list, and that is just product, and it should return new product of this. Okay, let's go to our add component, and we say this is product is equal to, we can say, fixture dot product. The next thing, let's create our mock. So we're going to say that is mock product service is equal to, we can have mock I product service. Let's register that. So we say services dot add singleton. This services is coming from, let's see if the namespace will pop up. So dot add singleton I product service. Then that is a mock product service that we created dot objects. Okay, this is not models, this is mock, which is coming from the mock library. Product list, under this product list, this is what I'm talking about. So that's a new mock, so you forgot that. Let's go and add that new mock, and maybe it is coming from the mock library. Okay, so once you're done registering, the next thing I'm going to do here is let's make a call. Now this, when we check the interface of this add product service, it returns integer, that is 1 for successful process, or -1. So it should return an integer. So maybe when we go to this add, we can create integer, that's a return value, and we set this to 1. Then when we come to here, we're going to say that this mock service dot setup, which is services dot, and that is an create product. Now this create product, we want to intercept anything, any method here which takes in a product. So we can use it dot is any type of what product. So specify this product. So we are not actually going to provide this product here. We can provide it, but we can intercept it, and in any method which takes in this product, we want to intercept it and then move on. So let's include a namespace. So after we have this set, this method should return. So it should return product. Dot return. So you can return this return value, that is 1. But since it's coming from a task, this should come from task dot from results. Then specify the ID here. You can see we are not specifying the product that we created. We're not doing that. And then it's going to return this 1, assuming it's created. So after we're done with this, we need to register the service. So we've done the service registration here. Then we've set up this. The next thing to do is let's create this component. So we're going to say var add product component. This equal to, so render component, and that is add product component. This component also not taking or accepting parameter. So let's include the namespace. Then let's go and act. Now under act, we want to fill, the component has an edit form. So you want to fill the edit form. Okay, so we can click on the button and see what will happen. So we're going to say that add component edit form dot find. That is where what we did makes sense here. We're going to find hash product name, and that is an ID. So when you look at this, the add product component, we specify an ID as product name and our product quantity. This is what you want, we're looking for. We are done with the product list, so we can close that. Now with this product test, also there is test, not text. It should be text. Yes. So we're going to find this. Then when we find that, we're going to have dot change to what? So let's say this is new product. You can even create a variable, a model, and I'll be using it, but well, let's provide it in here. The next one that we need to do is we need to also find the next one, which is the product quantity, and change this to, let's say, 75. After that, let's click on the button. So let's simulate it. So we're going to say there's an add component dot find. We have only one button in there, so you need to specify an ID. If not, you need to specify an ID to get a specific button that you want. So dot click on that button. Now when you click on the button, what's going to happen? That comes under assert. Let's verify that the product is being added, because here we are adding it in here. So we assume as soon as we click on this, this record is going to be added in here. Let's assert it. So we can use this mock product service dot verify. Let's verify service. This service dot create product async, and I mean that we also going to verify any method which takes in the type as object of what? Product. So grab this and paste it in here. And you know, instead of the return type, it has been done over here. So you want to check if what has been sent, this one, the model which has been sent here, can be found here. So how do we do that? We can specify that in here by saying that this P marks the product, marks to this product dot, and now with this product we can get the name. So let's make it as P. So we're gonna have P dot name, and this comes as a product name. So this product name is equal to this new product. That is what we just added here. And because here we added the product name and quantity, so we can check the quantity as well. So P dot quantity is also equal to 75. Or since this is a number, we don't need to make it a string, so we can say 75. Now how many times do you want this to be done? Once. So you can see we have times dot at least once, or once to be specific. Then we can close this. All right, so here should be is, not is any. Okay, so create product async. What is it saying? No method takes in 2 arguments. So this is not an argument for this create, it's only this. So we have to have one termination like that. Yes, because you have to open. Alright, so this is what we have to do. Now let's go in there and now put a breakpoint, save this, and let's test this. So debug it, and let's see. Yeah, that is hit. So we can go ahead and check. We have the return value. We mark the service, register the service. After registration, we're going to make a call, assuming we are going to create, and I return an ID of 1. After that, I create an instance of this component. After getting the component and everything within that, we want to, this component has a form, edit form. We want to change the edit form, the first edit context to new product. The second one to 75 as quantity. Click on a button. After the button is clicked, it means it's going to be added. Now let's go and verify. So under this verification, let's put breakpoint here. Next, let's check it up. Alright, so we're having an issue here. Let's check up. So expected invocation on the mock ones by 0 times, service, this and that, new product, and quantity cost 75. So actually, the verification has an issue. Let's go and cross check. So in here we have a p.name, that is the new name specified in here, and our p.quantity. Okay, so that is product, not this product. Talking about this p. Okay, I think problem is fixed now. Let's go and do it again. So let's stop this. And let's debug this again. Alright, so the breakpoint is hit again. Let's check it up. So we have our fixture. Okay. Next one. We find the components, product name. We change it. We set the same thing to quantity. After that, we click on the button. Then we're going to check if the button was clicked once. By stock, you see here, the button was not clicked. Let's go to the component. And in here, when we run this project, maybe we can stop this. At times, Visual Studio starts behaving. I have a submit type, but if I click on this button, this is not hit. Let's put a breakpoint. Let's run this actual problem. Then let's run the project and confirm what the test brought. Let's see if it is true. So let's go to this add product. Now here, pass in any name at all, quantity. And if I click on this add product, this button is not hit. Have you seen? So although we have a UI created, we have everything set in our edit form, but the button is not working. So that is the essence of what? Testing. So do you have any workaround? Yes, we can. Let's have this. Maybe if I restart this Visual Studio, it will work. But for now, it's not working. So I'm going to have at onClick. If this is clicked, I want to copy this and here. Now when we run this and click on this method is going to get fired. Let's go again and I run our test. So go to test, then debug test, and that is hit. So next, 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 next. Click on the button. Yes, and you see now this is working. So our button is now clicked, and we're going to return and now our method is passed. Yes, our test is now passed. Great. So we've seen how we can test with that. Now you can see from here we created a new product. Now this product could be a new could be any product at all. Well, I did not use it. Maybe you can decide to specify the ID instead of having a return value. You can specify the ID of this in there, and also you can change this to the new product in here. We did not use that, so we can get rid of that. Okay. So this has also passed. Now let's look at the next test, and we're going to look at, we have an add product, we have product list, we have two left, get product by ID. So let's have a look at how we can create a test for that. So let's create a class in our test component folder, and now this test class we're going to make it as get product by ID, get product by ID component test. In that, this should be public, and it should inherit from text coming from BUnit. We must have public a method. This should be void, and that is get product by ID component and here we're saying that display product detail. Okay, so this is our method. Now within this, under arrange, let's have, so this is a product that you want to get from the database, is equal to fixture dot product. It has an ID of 1. Then let's mock, so we can go ahead to our test. Now we can copy this and even that and even that. We can grab all this to our get by ID. Now in there we create our mob service. We register that. Let's get this product. So we're going to set this up. Okay. So now with this service, we want to get by ID. So get product by ID. And we want to intercept any method which has this dot is any, which returns a product. So it returns product, so it's any type of this. Now you know this takes in what? It doesn't take in product, it returns product, but it takes in an integer. So return or intercept any method which takes in integer, and known as a get product by ID. Now when you intercept that, we want you to return something beautiful to us. So return this product. This product has an ID. By saying this is a static, we need to make it from a task, since it is coming from task. So task that from results. Then let's paste a method in there. We can check for null. We can check from null here from the method. Okay, so now we're going to return a product. Nice. What's the next thing that we're going to do? Let's create a component. So this is product detailed component. Product detail component. And in here we need to use get product by ID component. Now this takes in a parameter. Remember that when you check our get product by ID component, it takes in a parameter which is an integer. So we must specify the ID in there before we make a call. When the page initializes, you see making a call in here, and that's what we're going to intercept. But we must provide an ID to this. So in here, we're going to say this parameter maps to, now with this parameter, it has product ID parameter. So we're going to add. Now with this add, this parameter maps to, it has a product ID parameter this, and in that we want to say this is equal to maybe 1. So here give it a value of 1. Now with this one, we don't want to write 1 here. We want to get this from the product ID, the product retrieved from database. Maybe with the database, that's a default one set here. You want to pass in the ID to this method. So when this page initializes, it's going to get called in the normal instance. It's going to get called based on this ID. Okay, now let's go and assert this. Under assert, we have to get our mock service. You want to go and verify it once, and in here we say our service map to, that's our service dot get product by ID, and within this ID we can specify the product ID. So we have our product dot ID, and we can check how many times was this called. Less times but once. This should be our mock service. Okay, so that's all we need to do. Let's put breakpoint, and maybe after we retrieve this, when you go to our get product by ID component, we have this. We can go through this and I'll check in case we have the data being represented here using this paragraph or even this strong tag. Okay, so we can grab this, the div, get this paragraph. When you have multiple divs, then give this div an ID so you can make a specific search to this. But since you have only one, we can go ahead and grab it. So let's say this is, we have product detailed. Now this details equal to, we have our product detail component dot find all. Let's use find all. Now with this find all, it is in P paragraph. So now when we check here, you can see we have three paragraphs, right? 1, 2, 3. So we can loop through them by using the index. So we can say that assert equal, then ID equal to 1. That is what we're going to do, because when you check here, ID space then 1, then this is name space, and now quantity space. So let's have ID name, and that is 1, and now with this is going to should be equal to this product detailed. You want to grab the first one, and that is 0.text content. Let's do same for the rest. Now this should be name, so this should be product 1, and this should be name. Then this should be, well, quantity, and the value should be 4. So this must be 2, this should be 1. Okay, we have a breakpoint. Now let's run this. So test, debug, or test. Well, we forgot to specify the facts on top. Then let's stop this. So cancel this, and now let's do it from here. Okay, so breakpoint is hit. Let's step out. Okay, so you have our product, we mock, we register, then we call a fixed service, we return that, we get our product component, which is passing the ID in here as a parameter. Now when it comes in there, we're going to verify if it was called once, and yes, it was. So aside from that, The next thing I'm going to do here, we're going to find all paragraphs to see if data has been presented nicely in the UI. So find ID 1 is equal to, and is the same, and quantity is 4 equal to 2, and that is it. This also passed. So when you run the application, or when you go to view, we're going to be seeing exactly the same thing, because since this has passed, you're going to be seeing everything's going to work as expected. So now that we are done with this, we have two left, that is an update and delete. So let's go and create a delete. We don't have delete component here, right? But we can create a test, because the delete here can be found in the product list. So product list component, then delete. So let's create a test for that. Or maybe we can put that in the product list. Since we have it here, we have the delete here, we can put it in here. So let's come down here. Then we're going to have a fact. Then we're going to say that we can go and grab the name, product list component. Then we add delete to it. Okay, so delete product and a button clicked. Now let's open this, and we have our list of products. So we have product is equal to, so that is our fixture.product list. Then we need to register our, let's mock and do a registration. So we have to mock this and do our registration. Okay, so now we have this set. The next thing that we're going to do here is you want to get our product, because before we delete, we must get our product, isn't it? So let's go and get our product. So get our product. Now this is going to return the product that's we retrieve from the fixture. Aside from that, we're going to issue the delete, because now we have this product, we can go ahead and now delete it. So we have our mock product service dot, let's have our setup service so service dot then delete product. This product takes in an ID. You can decide to skip the ID, or you can decide to provide it. Let's skip. So dot is any. It takes in an integer ID. It takes an integer and it returns. Let me put it here. It returns integer, right? So that returns. Maybe return this, let's assume it is 1. By this one should be tagged from as 1. Okay. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and create our component for this product list. So we can grab this component here, our product list component. Then in our product list, since we have the list here already, and we are deleting, we have to now go there and now going to refresh it. So we're going to get the rest. Currently we have 2 records. We are deleting 1. So when you refresh the page, you must see 1 left, isn't it? Let's see how we can handle that. So we can say that component dot find button. So with this product list has a button, and that is a delete button. So we need to click it to simulate it. So we say this component dot find, it has button. It has only one button, so when you cross check from our product list, it has only one button here. This is a button. So that's the reason why I did not specify this as buttons. I made only one button. But in case I want to add these buttons, then I need to specify an ID. I can also get this ID here. So any way out, you can specify only this button as a class name, or you can specify the ID in here as the delete, then pass in the ID of this. It's still going to work. Okay. So find the button, and now with this, we want to click. So click on this button. Now when you click on this button, let's go and assert it. We need to go and verify. So we say this mock product service dot verify. Then we have our service dot delete product. It takes an ID, so we can specify the ID of 1. Then the time that this operation occurs is once. So let's make that also happen as once. We need to get the remaining product, isn't it? So we can check. So we are saying that var get the remaining product. We can get it from this product list component dot instance dot, it has a product list. There is a property created in this product list. So when you check here, we have a product list. This is going to contain the rest. So we want to grab it and now get a count, where we can get count or we can find and see. So once you get this, we can go and assert. Is it single? We have only single record in it. Remaining product, is it only 1? Aside from that, we say this assert dot, is it equal? Because 1 is deleted, product ID 1 is gone. So we want to check if the product ID 2 exists. And remaining product, that is only 1 in there, and that which has an ID of 2. So we can take in 0 for the index, and in that we want to grab the ID. So we want to check. Okay. Sends to okay. This is just number, so you need not to put it in the string formats. Okay, let's put a breakpoint, and now let's check if delete is going to work. Well, the point is hit, so let's go through, step out. We have the list, we map our service, we register our service, we call get product list, we return a dummy list, we also delete it, passing the ID, then we create instance of the component, we find a delete button, and I'll click on it. So with this, let's go to the product list. Let's actually see if this button is really clicked. So that is from our product list component. There's a button that we're talking about. If this is clicked, we want to handle the delete product. So let's put a breakpoint. Let's go to the test again, click on next. If this button is clicked, we have to navigate. Yes, it is clicked. And here it's going to be clicked on once. See, delete this, and after that you want to get a list and now exclude the one with that deleted. Return this, and now here we are going to check. When you go to our product list, yes, it's even done. Okay, so when you check, it's remained 1. We can actually put a breakpoint, then we can do it again to verify. So I'm going to click on continue. This is hit, continue. Now this is hit. So if I click on the next one, check it out, the remaining product here, it is 1. So this is also working. All right, so we have our last test to be done, and that is an update product. So update product component. Let's have this component or this test also created. So I click on this test. Let's add a new. And so this is update product component. Then test. Let's make this as public as usual. And you know, this should inherit from test context. Let's copy this, create a method that is public, is the void, and in here, so loads product data successfully. Okay, so we need to get the product that you want to update, right? We can get this from, we have to create a new product, isn't it? Well, let's mock our service. When we get there, we see what to do. So we come here, we create our service, we mock it up, then we paste it in here. Okay, so it is the same thing that we did, register the service. After that, before we do an update, we need to get a product by ID, isn't it? So let's go to get product by ID, and within this, get product by ID, we want to copy this, go to the product. So after we have the product at hand, it's going to return a product. So this product, we want to say there is a product that has been retrieved from the database. Let's assume that. So we say this is fixture.product, which has an ID of 1, and that is what we have retrieved. Good. Now that we have this retrieved, what are we going to do? We want to update it with new data. So with this, we can say that there's a var new data, or let's say we want to, we can update that if you want. But well, let's say we have our this new, is it new or updated? So there's an updated product. So new product, and it has an ID. The ID is still 1. The name is going to be updated name. So updated product name. And then we have the quantity. Okay. So this is an updated product. So let's make a call to that. Let's grab the same here. Now let's paste this. Now instead of this get by ID, this is going to be update product. We can decide to skip any type which is a taking or a payload of product, or you can decide to also specify that. And now we want to return a value. So we can return, since this and that have the same ID, we can pick any and I return an ID. So product.id, we can return that, since an update returns an integer. Okay, so now that we have this set, what is the next thing that we can do? Let's grab our update component. So we say, and here it is arrange and let's see. So the next one that we're going to do is let's act under act, normally in our text, do we have arrange act? Oh, okay, so we did not act. We have an asset, we skipped act. Don't worry, when we are done, we're going to rename them. We're going to group them under arrange, act, and asset. So you can see that. Alright, so here under act, let's create a component, and that is an update product component. And this is equal to, we're gonna have render component, then update products component. Now we know this takes in a parameter also. Check it up and see. It takes in an ID, product ID. So as we did for the get by ID, you have to also do same. So we say parameter maps to, then this parameter dot add. Now when add, then we have this parameter, and this parameter, it is a product.id from the component, and in that you want to present it with this product.id. That's the ID we want to pass it on. Okay, so now that we have this set already, what can we do here is the data has been retrieved, and now it has been set in the edit form. So let's go and change this. We are going to make an update. The raw data has been retrieved from get by ID. It has been set in there. So let's go and change the form. Okay. But before we can change the form, we need to grab this component first. So under same act, we're going to say this is an input name, right? And we're going to say this is update component dot find, and on here it is product name. The same thing applies to input quantity. It could be change quantity, it could be input quantity, it could be whatever quantity. And here we're going to say product quantity. If you don't know where we are getting this from, go to the product component. That's an update component, and you see we have product quantity, product name as IDs. Okay, so now that we have these fields, what can we do? We go to asset. We can check the get by ID. We can check if the data which was retrieved from here, it is equal to this product. Okay, at the end we're going to set a new one. So under asset for verification, we can have our mock service, then dot verify service, we say service dot get product by ID, get product by ID. We can decide to skip this or pass in the ID of this is a product ID dot ID, and that is 1. How many times you want to make this call? So that is times dot 1. So after we're done with that, we can check. Let's check. You can also check from assets dot equal. Now we know that the ID here it is 1, so we're going to say this 1, and input, we cannot check input. We did not find ID, so it should be in the name, and the name here should be product 1. It should be equal to this dot test content. Do same to the next one. Quantity should be 4, and that is a not input name, rather input quantity. When you go to our fixture, we have a name which takes in 1 and product 1 and 4. So let's assume we have retrieved this and fix them in the fields. We want to go and verify that and check. So after verification that this is working, we now go back and now execute the change. Okay, so let's have another set. We're going to act again. Now under act, we're going to say this input name dot change. Now that we verify it is what we wanted from the DB to display, we want to change this to, and that's why we need an updated product dot name, and we do same input quantity dot change, and we have an updated product dot quantity. So we have now updated the field. What is left? Let's find a button and click. So we're going to say that update component, update component, update component dot find. We have only one button, so we can use a class name, then dot click. So after clicking, let's go and assert last one. Then under this assert, that is when an update has happened. We can go in there and now verify. So mock product service dot. Now let's go and verify how many times this was called, and in case the values are equal to what we have specified, so verify you have our service. Now this service dot update product, update product. You can decide to skip it or pass in. So let's say we want to pass in an updated product. That is what you want to pass into updated. Now after you pass in this, I think we should not pass in like that. We should use the is type. So we can have dot is, and it is taking the type of product. So we can have an extension of this, and now with this, let me put the next line. And now with this extension, we can specify our P. This shouldn't be here. We are saying that this P dot, now P dot name should be equal to, I should clear this. That's an updated product dot name. And also the quantity, so P dot quantity should also be equal to this updated product dot quantity. The time that we should make this is time dot once. That is once. Okay. So we have this. Is there any issue again? Okay. And when we break this up, here should be double closing, and this should have 1. Okay, so let's put breakpoint. Let's run this. The breakpoint is hit, but before that, let's go to an update. Then with this update component, let's put a backchain to this update. Let's make sure this button will be clicked once. Let's go back to the test, step out. We have our product and we have an updated product. Then we mock our service, register singleton. We call get product by ID. Now we're going to return a product. That's what coming from our fixed. Now this product is what we're going to update. We call this update. It returns a product ID. After that, you're going to create a component passing the parameter of ID. Then after you have the parameter of ID in here, we're going to get the component names by IDs. You're going to keep them here. Okay, so you have the name. Next one. So you also have the next one. That is the quantity. After that, let's verify if it was called once. Yes, it is. Let's get the input name here. Now input name, it has the text content here. It is, can we see it from here? That is the name, have the class. This is the value product 1, which is equal to this. And now when we check this quantity, the value here is 4, which is equal to that. So it means our product was successfully queried and now being set up in here. Now there's an issue here. Product name is product space 1, and it's saying that strength differs product 1. Actual result is null. Alright, so with this, I think we need to get, when we check this, it's giving us a value. So we need to get the attribute, not the content itself. So after we have this input name, not the content, we want to get attribute, and in here we need to specify the attribute name. That is a value. That is what we need to make this work. So let's copy this, and I think it's solved now. Let's go back, stop this. Let's do it again. Let's step out. Okay. Let's go. Get product by ID. Let's go. Call the update. Now in here, let's find the product. We find the quantity. We get the value. Get the values in here. Let's verify if it was called once. Yes, it was. Then we check it, which is same. We check the value of this, and that is it. Now we're going to change this from product 1 to updated product, and now from 4 to this. Let's see if it's going to work. Yes, we've changed that. So if I click on this input name, now here let's see the value is updated name, and when you check the quantity too, it has changed from I think that was 4 to 566. Then we're going to click on the button. Let's say this button is clicked. How many times is 1? Because it's going to call once. Then when you go back to this update, yes, it was passed. So we did not check this, so we're going to verify, and since we have the values in here, the same thing that you're going to get in here. So you can see it is passed. So in this way, you can create a CRUD test, a CRUD component test using the BUnit, the xUnit framework, and the mock library. So all the testings are complete. Now let's make sure we run the application, and when we run it and perform these actions, we should not see any issue because we did not encounter any issue, or even issues popped up in the test have been resolved. Let's run it and I give it a try. Alright, so when you run this application, that is what you have. All these data records are coming from the API, and in here we can go to add product, and in here we can add a new product. So let's say this is new product. Let's add a quantity. Click on add, and it is added. Oh well, I think a breakpoint is hit. We did not remove this breakpoint, so click on continue, and it has been added. Go back to the home page, and you got to see the new product being added in here. And where is it? we must see the new product. Maybe let's refresh this. Oh, yeah, so we have it in here. We can click on view, and now we can view that. As you can see, that's a new product. We can go back and now delete the same product, or we can update it. So a new product, and let's have updates. Let's add 0 to this. Click on update, and this should work. A breakpoint is hit. We did not remove that. Let's clear that. Click on continue on. It is done. Go back to the home page, and you're going to see that an update has been added. 0 and update. That's great. We can also delete it. Check it out. The breakpoint is also hit. Let's remove that. Click on continue on. And we want to see it should be off now. Yeah, it is off. So that brings us to the end of this course on unit testing Blazor WebAssembly components using the xUnit framework, the BUnit, and the mock libraries. I hope this dive has given you the confidence to start writing meaningful tests for your Blazor applications. So, by integrating unit testing into your development workflow, you are not just only ensuring that your components behave as expected, but you are also safeguarding your app against feature bugs as it evolves. Testing CRUD operation may seem straightforward, but as you've seen, there's a lot of values in simulating user interactions, mocking dependencies, and covering edge cases. Always do remember that the goal of unit testing, it is not just to verify your code, but to build resilient applications that can handle real-world scenarios. So as you move forward, make testing a habit and see how it transforms the quality and reliability of your Blazor project. If you found this course helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Feel free to drop any question or thought in the comment below. I'd love to hear from your feedback, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching, and happy coding!